Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? It's D's World. Got another reaction, okay? I'm about to be watching something that everybody should watch right there from school that they shouldn't be doing right there for little kids I mean, this is just new right here, so we're gonna see how it is. But before we go to this right here, right? Last weekend, I have a new story with Brian that happened last Wednesday. So we're gonna be talking about we're actually in the bar and something, and yeah, we was talking. It takes about like 20 minutes though, but so I think I'm gonna editing later, and it should be on Wednesday. So if you guys remember Brian, or I call him B, he'll be right there too. So we you're gonna have a funny story. It's not a funny story, but to me, it's funny to me now because it's like almost a week now. But yeah, get ready for that. It's about like a bar fight. Oh man, yo, bro, y'all gonna laugh. But anyways, so get ready for that coming up. Now we're gonna react this now, and let me just have my quick 2 cents. I've been saying this all the time. If you feel that kind of way, that's you. Now, if, like I said, I have multiple cousins that guy to guy, like guys like guy, girls like girl, and that's their thing, man. I love them, whatever happens. But the only thing that been crazy the last couple of years is they're pushing it inside schools to kindergarten and first, second, now all the way in school right there, man. And that's not cool at all. They shouldn't think about it like that. Just do the education. Just know about the ABCs, all that kind of stuff. Know how to read, write, and all that kind of things like that. So just gotta keep that out of that kind of things and and push it right there to these kids, man. That's all. That's getting crazy right now, man. But let's think what they're thinking about this. All right. So let's check it out. Y'all ready about this, everybody? I like this podcast, man. This podcast is pretty dope, man. I would love to be in this podcast one day if I get big with this. So y'all gotta just like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get me big right there, so I could go all these podcasts right here and then come over here. So I have my 2 cents, everything, man, and I'll be me. I always had this big smile all the time, even if it's whatever, have a disagreement, and if they get mad, I just be like, "Oh, you mad? That sucks." All right, you ready? Bah.
I do think that there's a reason why this whole trans explosion is happening in these more leftist cities more than anywhere else, and why you have people like the Disney executive who's like, my one child is polyamorous and my other child is trans and my other child is a furry, like whatever. Right? Like it's no accident that that's happening, because like that's not going to happen in my family. And I'll tell you, there was another woman who I knew in New York. She's Black, her husband's Black. And she said that she was very concerned about this trans ideology at our school, where they were asking our boys whether they were sure they were boys every week. Mm-hmm. And she said at home, she and her husband were counter-programming, like, can you imagine grandpa showing up in a dress? Like they were doing some mild mocking of it so that their boys understood this is absurd and not an available option for you.
Yeah. As crazy as it is, one of the fears, Megan, you
delusional, everybody right there is trying to get everybody to think way different this early like this, man, and it's going crazy. So let's keep going. Let's keep going.
In your life, you're very successful. You're at the top of the game. You're the best at what you do. Okay, so that's Megan.
Yeah, she nice.
You're not in the top 1%. You're more like 1% of 1%.
Okay,
so you've been fortunate. I've been fortunate. We've done good for ourselves financially, so we can kind of use our resources to, push our weight a little bit, right? Like if I'm interviewing for schools that I was putting my kids into, I went to 7 different private schools here in South Florida. One of my first questions was, so, hey, Mary, thank you so much for taking the time for the appointment with us and our 3 kids. We're looking forward to coming to Florida. How does this school feel about capitalism? Excuse me? Yeah, how do you feel about, what do you think about these rich people, these entrepreneurs, these capitalists, these business owners? What is the school's position on capitalism? Well, we teach the benefits of capitalism and the pros and cons of it, but we also teach the pros and cons of socialism, and we
Oh
teach
boy.
the pros and cons of communism, and we allow the kids to decide. Yeah, my kids are not going to go to your school. I mean,
Yeah, bye.
how much more history do you need to not have to teach the pros of communism? How many millions of people have been killed? So these are the questions that parents with resources can ask. But Megan, I want you to think about this. Think if you and I are making $74,000 a year, okay? Household income we have is 120. Let's say 130, okay? 30% of that goes to taxes. So if you're making 130, 30% goes to taxes, you're left with $97,000. Let's just say $95,000. You're living in a 3-bedroom house, maybe a 4-bedroom house, 30 minutes outside of the city because that's what we can afford. And our kids can only go to a public school. And now you go and impose yourself with these things. So parents are now coming home and the kid's asking questions about LGBTQ. Then the parent tries to explain this to the kid. Then the kid goes to school
And they talk
says,
about
well,
it
my
all the
mommy
time.
told me. Then the teacher calls the parent and says, hey, you can't tell that to your kids. Now the parent is afraid, doesn't know what to do because they could get kicked out. Now they're being boxed in a place that you are a extremist and all this stuff. Then the teachers can target. Do you see how this thing creates the kind of fear in parents that they're immobilized? So that causes a lot of parents to say, well, look, babe, don't say that to him because he's going to say that in school. Hey, son, you can't go tell that to your teacher. I remember living in Iran with my parents, going to a school and worried about the Hezbollah pulling us over. And if they ask you, are you a Christian? You got to say, ask my mommy and my daddy. Some parents right now in low and middle income families are right now going through this. And Megan, I got to tell you, that's a scary place to be. You and I may not know about it today. You and I may not know the fears of that, but tens of millions of people are going through that today. So what do? What's the solution? Is it best to just kind of sit on the sidelines and let other people steal your kids for 20 years? And I don't mean physically, I mean emotionally and philosophically. And now your kid doesn't like you because your teachers and the school system pinned you against your kids. And they come home and they say, all you care about is this. What do? This is where bitching and complaining is not enough. This is where sitting on the sidelines and just talking to other parents and, yeah, you know, Johnny's mom also feels this way. This is when we got to get involved. There's never, ever, Megan, been a better time or more important of a time of a side gig. Do real estate on the side. Do something on the side to create an additional $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month to either put your kids in a private school or to homeschool. Or on top of that, if you can't do any of that stuff based on where you live, get involved. Right now, school boards, the voting percentage is not that high. It only is like 5% voting, 5 to 10% voting. If you go, voter turnout is not high. And parents who run, typically, they have a very high chance of winning. So if you're sitting there saying, well, I'm not happy about what's going on, run for school board. You would be surprised how many other parents feel like you, and you become the courageous one. And other people in public school say, I kind of like what Mary has to say. Let's get behind her.
Right. You have to find.
Damn, that was like just got to be more active, huh? Basically, what he's saying right there. And I agree if you need to, right there, man. If you can't do all what he just said right there for from public to private, and then all that kind of stuff, you're too far and all that kind of things, man. You gotta just do what you gotta do, best way for yourself. But if you're in a lose to all that kind of stuff, if you just have your disagreement and then you got kicked out, that'd be all bad. There's some stuff that be happening right now, man. And that's not cool. Not cool at all.
Find a way of creating that power to vote with your feet or speak up at school and be listened to. You know, it's getting easier. I mean, I will say it's easier. When I was in the city at the school I just referenced, where they're asking our boys if they're girls every week, we formed this sort of underground network of parents. And that's where I met the friend I was telling you. And as I mentioned, she and her husband are Black. They did not appreciate the messages going to their brilliant son that he was somehow less than because of the color of his skin, which was the implicit message of America's original sin, and there's really no way around it, and you somehow are divided from your white and your Indian, your brown-skinned classmates, and you Hispanics too, you're in the same boat. She and the other parents of color were as mad as we were, where they were saying, you know, as I've told you the world before, about the white kids in every classroom where white children learn, there's a future killer cop. And teaching that there are 100 genders and refusing to refer to the boys as boys now.
Ooh, yeah, it's awesome for that cop thing, man. When I was young, I didn't really have anything bad with it, but you know, like listening hip hop all the time. They always say that kind of stuff. But as I grew up more, I used to see more and more cops, man. So I know so many people that actually that went to middle school, high school, and they're cops now. And they're not even white, man. They're all like Filipino, Mexican, Asian, all this stuff right there. And it's all bad. You know, some dude last year, he's Asian, and he went to high school with me. And that dude came over there there's like a violence or something right there. So we had to go over there to watch, just to come over there and knock the door, make sure everything's good, because people are like calling him and everything. So we did. It's really early. And the dude came over there, and while he just knocked the door, the dude opened the door and just shot him right in his face. Died. Asian cop. All he came over there just because people called this. And then the same person that did that, he used his kid, like a little 5-6 years old kid or something like that, as a shield for the cops so they can't shoot him. But he was choking his son. Dude, lose, all that kind of stuff. But nah, man, people. Anyways, let's keep going with it right there, man. Just all this kind of stuff. I'm thinking about all these things now. What would I do? Would I want to be in that position, that kind of stuff? I don't want to, man. Hell no. Especially where I'm at right now. I'm not physical like I was, before my injury. And plus, I want to use my brain. And I know I lost a big part in my brain. I know I did, man. But at the same time, I still have a brain. I got a brain. Dun, 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 dun. But yeah, man. So let's see what's up with this. What it is.
Or as your sons, Now it's just your student. This hit the news just this week that in Vermont, there's this school. It's like, I'll pull up the name, like Founders. I can't remember. It's like Friends. I'll figure it out. Where they're getting rid of, same thing. They're only referring to boys as people who make sperm and girls as people who make eggs in school now. And these parents in Vermont, this is Vermont, which is a blue state, but come on, it's still America, where they're saying what is it? Essex, Westford, in Vermont. And this is being allowed.
I see. What did you just say?
Allowed, Pat. I mean, it's being allowed.
Yeah, this, again, for me, sometimes when I was younger and I had a bad idea, or let's just say a dumb idea, and I would go to my dad and I would say, Dad, I want to do this. And Dad would say, okay, here we go. Pat's got another crazy idea, and I'm 12 years old, or I'm 8 years old, or I'm 16 years old.
That was like my grandpa to me, though, man. That's just, yeah.
And he knows I'm going to fail, and I would go execute this idea, and I don't execute it because it's a terrible idea. And I'd come back and say, you know what, Dad, it didn't work. Yeah, you were kind of right. But of course, we don't tell our dads he was right. And we would do more of these things. Sometimes it happens in a company, a department comes to you and they say, Patrick, we have an idea. We need a $100,000 budget for this. If it's a hit, it could be this, it could be. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to give you a $100,000 budget, but here's 10 grand and go see at the lowest level and see what you can do. And then come back, boom, it fails. Or they come back and it says it works. Okay. So the best part about ideas, or if somebody claims, watch me, you're going to see what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something really.
Yeah, because when you have ideas, thing is you always do have to. You have to fail a couple times to be successful, That's true. Anybody that I know that's successful, they wasn't successful the first time, man. It took multiple times until they made the right time and everything. I mean, when I was in high school, I was like I think it's like a small business, or I forgot this little, whatever, I forgot what class it was. We're watching all these documentaries from Walmart. Man, this dude, he like bankrupt like freaking like 5 times before Walmart was Walmart. Man, it was crazy. This dude was all the times bankrupt, like hella times, man. So you have to fail to be successful,
Special about my life. Great. You know what's going to validate whether you do or not? Time. 10 years later, people are going to say, no, you were really all talk. You were not a doer. Unfortunately,
you gotta just keep
you've
pushing.
been a talker, and that's your label. You get labeled a talker. You get labeled somebody who talks a big game but doesn't come through. In our family, I had an uncle that I would always get compared to because my dad is 5'9", 5'10", I'm 6'5", which is kind of confusing for a Middle Eastern guy to be 6'5". So everybody would look at the mailman to see if he was tall. No, my dad's brother is 6'5". So I took my height after this uncle called Johnny. And Johnny had a reputation. He was the smartest guy. He would smoke a pipe and he would read physics books for a hobby. Who the hell
Wow.
reads physics books for
No
a hobby?
one.
Well, my Uncle Johnny would do that. And he was my favorite uncle. He would take us to this place that he would buy me Nutella. In Iran, if you eat Nutella, you're apparently rich. So I would eat Nutella every 6 months.
That's what's
and,
up.
you know, you would kind of experiment. Like, I really love this Uncle Johnny. One day my dad tells me Uncle Johnny's reputation and what his nickname is. His nickname was 70% Johnny. What's 70% Johnny? Johnny was the smartest guy in our family, great with numbers, great with a lot of different things. And he would always go and start a project and he would go to 70% of completion and he would stop. He would go, 70% and stop. That was a great idea. 70%, stop. So eventually everybody said, man, Johnny, you got great ideas, but you never execute. Today, all of these people that are coming up with these trans-able, you know, is what I identify as blind. I identify as this. Dwayne Wade said, well, you know, I can't identify myself as somebody that can live in the state of Florida. It's too extreme of policies with what the governor's doing there, you know, with a trans kid. I have decided to take my kids to a different place. No problem.
Yeah.
You know, today, he may seem like a noble parent. And it may look like, what a sweet father. What a great mother you guys are. You know, obviously the biological mother didn't support it, but, you know, Dwayne Wade,
Yeah.
more power to you. But in 10 years,
Yeah, I seen that. Like his baby mama's all pissed about that stuff.
the biological mother didn't support it, but, you know, Dwayne Wade, more power to you. But in 10 years, when that kid is 25 years old, in 20 years when that kid is 35 years old, that kid is going to say, why'd you let me do that as a 13, 14? I had no clue what I was doing.
For real.
Why'd you let me make a decision? like that?
100%. Thank you. Thank you. Exactly. They don't know yet, man. See, Dwayne Wade is tripping, man. Let's say if I do that to me, man, my grandpa would beat the. Well, I wouldn't even do it anyways, but if he did to me, my grandpa would be like, blah, 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 blah. What are you doing, man? Stop doing that. You know? Like, you're too young. You're way, way too young for that kind of stuff.
Something like that.
Gosh.
Why didn't you wait till I was an adult? Why'd you do that, Dad?
Exactly.
Then we are all going to realize whether that decision that was made in 2023 or 2022, it was a bad decision. And unfortunately, Megan, this is the problem. Unfortunately, some of these shitty ideas these guys are coming up with that are seeming like they're such noble people, it's going to take 10 to 20 years to realize they were horrible ideas. And a lot of people, especially helpless people like kids, are going to suffer the consequences. So as loud as many of us are going to be, as much as we're going to go out there and present common sense, unfortunately, some of these bad ideas are creating momentum and it's hurting the people that are helpless.
Man, I'm doing it again. Very, very, very interesting. This podcast is always dope. It's always have conversations, always keeping it real, man. It's not, I love it. Love it all the time. I agree. It's hard. You're in the bad spot. Earlier, you're talking about right there at school, you can't say anything. And if you do get kicked out, but you have to be more evolved, though, into what it is right there for the school, community, all that kind of things like that. Like me, I mean, when I was younger, my mom, she used to live right there into, you know, for a little bit to my grandparents. And then she went right there into apartments, you know, right not that far from hood spots. This place, then had a house, and it was right next to the hood, though. And that's why I know a lot of friends, though. But now, you know, she moved again. Like, I got injured, so I didn't live with my mom until I got injured again. So I was right there, and I seen her knew where she lives and everything. I'm like, all right, man, it's cool when you're watching it because people walk all the time. People are happy. That block is cool. It's all like older people, and it's just all love. I don't see nobody all mad, you know. So you want to kick it. You gotta kick it what you want, where you kicking it with or chilling at, and everything. Be evolved and had dreams and yeah. But man, like you said earlier, right there, you're in the best spot though, at that school thing right there. But you have to be evolved, y'all, evolve. Sorry, man. Tell me what you think right there. Please like, subscribe, show love, all that kind of stuff. All right, peace.